We're talking predictions for the UCLA matchup. Can the Gophers make it 2 wins in a row? That's what you're finding out today.
You are Locked On Golden Gophers, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Kane Rob, host of the podcast, former collegiate football video coordinator and recruiting assistant, here to talk Golden Gophers with you each and every day of the week, Monday through Friday. We are joined by our weekly co-host, Tristyn Spann-Ford, ready to get after these predictions, but we got to talk about what happened last week. The Gophers, with the upset, storming the field. How are you feeling after the USC victory?
Incredible. That was electric. It was just me and me, my wife, and the oldest sitting in the living room, living and dying with every snap. It was the best. It was electric. It was everything that college football is supposed to be.
Everything it's supposed to be. Y'all was probably going crazy. Your neighbors ready to call the police, like something's going on. People are screaming and shouting.
That's exactly what the case was. It was nuts. It was crazy because I was sitting there, and in my brain, I literally, as those last two snaps went, and I was like, this is literally where you have a Coney Durr pick right now. This is what seals the game. And then it happened, and I looked at my oldest. I was like, I told you, this is what happens every time.
We were in sync. I was sitting in the press box, sitting next to my guy Andrew, and he looks at me and he was like, "Man, like this is a big play. It's a big play." I'm like, "Look, if they can get pressure on Miller Moss right here, I'm feeling an interception."
Yep.
Next thing you know, a little bit of pressure. Corey Parrish comes up, pick, game over. And when I said that, I said, "Get some pressure. I'm feeling an interception here." And he looked at me and he said, "It's going to be Corey Parrish." I'm telling you, it was the perfect tag team on that one. We called it. It was great. But not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. I said the unsung hero of this last game would be Corey Parrish, and boy, was he. 6 tackles, a forced fumble, a game-winning interception. How excited are you about Minnesota finding another superstar safety on this roster?
Incredibly excited. This is like, our defense is so deep, and it has been for years. We've been competitive. Like, yes, we have some tough losses, and we're never in like that, we're not like playoffs conversation. So it gets missed out on a lot, but we've had a defense for a few years now.
Yeah. Last year was a little bit of a hiccup, but that was a lot of injuries. But before that, the defense was killing it. Those first few years with Joe Rossi as well, back to killing it. Number 1 pass defense in the country. Honestly, I am stoked about Corey Parrish. He's homegrown, which we've seen some awesome safeties: Jordan Howden, Tyler Nubin, Antoine Winfield. The list goes on and on. But this one, he's homegrown. He's from Minnesota. We fought off Florida State. You're welcome, Corey Parrish. We fought off Ohio State and all these other schools, and he stays home. And look, he's getting playing time early. He's getting game-winning picks. So I am stoked about it. I also shout out to Kerry Brown, because I think that dude's going to be a stud safety for the Gophers as well. But let's talk about how critical this upcoming game against UCLA is going to be, because it's right before your bye week, but it's also coming off of a big win. You're going on the road for the second time, and it's your longest travel day, going to LA for the first time in a long time. Like, how critical is this UCLA game, especially with where it's positioned and what's going on?
This is easily, it shouldn't be with how our schedule looks. This shouldn't be, but this is such a pivotal game for us. I read something somewhere where it's like teams are like 1-8 traveling 2 time zones or something like that. Like, it's a tough game, but it's a very winnable game. Like, this team is not, they've had a tough schedule. They've had a really tough schedule going forward, or to start off the season. But if you can find a way to convincingly win this, you rest up, you're fully healthy going into that gauntlet of Big Ten teams. It's huge. And going into that with this win, as opposed to a loss, is going to make all the difference.
Absolutely. And you got guys that are a little dinged up. You want to get them healthy. But if you can get through this one with a win, you're sitting at 4 wins. You're getting ready to say, look, we got to win at least 2 to get bowl eligible. But we just showed we beat USC. If USC goes out here and competes with Penn State, that's the hardest game on your schedule. So if they compete with them, you're looking at it like, look, we can compete with them. If USC can do it and we just took them down, we can do the same thing to Penn State. And guess what? That game is here in Dinkytown as well. And Dinkytown is home field advantage. So like if that starts to turn and burn, you're starting to look at the schedule and say, look, we can make some noise. We could be the team that is the giant slayer. We can be the team that's taken down Penn State's or Illinois that's ranked right now, or Rutgers, who everybody is chiming in on. Like you start to take those teams down and people are going to be like, whoa, what is cooking up there in Minnesota? So I think it all starts with this UCLA game. You have to take care of the games that you're favored to win. And we've seen that not happen with the Gophers time and time again. We cannot see it happen again this weekend. That would be soul crushing for this fan base and probably for a lot of the players in this one as well. But I want to move to spicy takes for this week. So if you're a new listener tapping in, we'll get to the predictions. We'll talk about touchdown scored in this game. We'll talk about the actual score predictions, maybe defensive player of the game. I've got a couple new ones for this week as well. But before we do that, I want to dive into a couple takes, and I want to kick it off with spicy takes. Now, I'll go first. I'll let you get some thoughts going, but I think you're going to like this one. So my spicy take, and folks, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying it's a hot take. But my spicy take is PJ Fleck lights up the scoreboard this week, because if you don't remember, PJ Fleck was rumored to want to leave and go to UCLA this past summer, and UCLA stuck with their guy in-house. Now people are like, oh, PJ Fleck wasn't actually interested, blah, blah, blah. You know what? The only people that know that are UCLA and PJ Fleck. And so I am curious to see if PJ Fleck did get declined by UCLA, and you know what? He's like, look, I'm going to show y'all you messed up. You done goofed, and I'm going to put every second I can. I'm going to put a touchdown on the board. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take big shots. And I think if the gossip is true, I think PJ Fleck is going to have a big I told you so moment. I told you I'm him. You should have brought me to LA, and he lights up the scoreboard. That's my spicy take for this week.
I like that. I was kind of getting that. I think the energy levels. My spicy take is Max Brosmer has the most passing yards he's had this year on this game. And my only thing is, this is the Rose Bowl. This is nighttime. Like, this is what Pac-12 football feels like, but it's the Big Ten. And like most of these guys have never played in this stadium, and UCLA plays there all the time. So they don't have it's not that same itch, that drive. And I feel like this is where we're going to see our superstars. Like, this is a big, I mean, obviously the stadium's not that big, but it's a big stage. It's a little bit overhyped, but it's a big stage, and it's such a historical place, and it's an evening game. It's just, I think it's going to feel good. Like, an evening game on the West Coast that's all-time football. That's college football right there. So I think we're going to see our superstars be superstars.
All right. Now, I want to take one last thing before we jump into the predictions. I want you to call your shot on one thing that will happen in this game. Not a spicy take, not something we hope will happen. One thing you are like, look, if I had to cash in, I'm saying this will happen this weekend.
Ja Joyner, anytime sack.
Ooh, okay.
I'm foreshadowing. He's my defensive player this week. I think he's gonna tear it up this week.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to say that Max Brosmer will have 250 passing yards or more. I'm going to lock that in because, look, this is a terrible pass defense. I mean, god awful. They are like 124th out of 134 teams. So there's only 10 teams that are worse than this team at pass defense. Now, you might say, well, they've played some difficult teams, Kane. They've played some. No, you're 124. It's not like I'm saying you're 84. Like, okay, then I'm like, okay, they played tough. No, you are in the bottom, in the cellar. You're the worst in the Big Ten. I mean, come on now.
Oh, I like that though. I do like that. That's what. See, that it makes my spicy take look good.
It does. Well, we're gonna dive into the real predictions coming up next. That's what's coming. So be sure to stick around. Coming up next. First, we got to talk to you about our friends over at Gametime, because I don't know about you, but look, the NBA season is coming, and your boy was like, let me go check out Gametime so I can see my Celtics in the flesh once again, because the Celtics only play the Timberwolves once every year in Minneapolis, so me and my wife always go to the game. And so I'm like, look, let me get these tickets before they go up. But, Gametime, they've got the lowest price guaranteed, so I'm definitely going to go head over that way. Well, they came up. I got the Gametime picks. It gave me the star next to the lowest price, best deal tickets, and your boy is going to be cashing in before any tickets go up as the season goes on. But even if you don't get them now, Gametime has the lowest price guarantee, and they like to say that most of the tickets prices actually go down the closer you get to Gametime. They go all the way to the tip-off, and as you get closer to tip-off, those ticket prices will be going down. But no matter what, you can know that Gametime has the lowest price guarantee, and if you find tickets that are lower of the same seats, then Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. On top of that, your boy went in there. He hit that all-in pricing right away, because I hate hidden fees, and I'm not about that hidden fees life. You're like, oh shoot, $80 a ticket. Yeah, I'm gonna grab these. You get to the checkout cart, and it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be $400, and I'm like, whoa, what happened? Well, not with Gametime. When you toggle the all-in pricing feature, which is chef's kiss, that's where I'm at. So definitely toggle that pricing feature, all-in pricing feature. But go on over to Gametime, take the guesswork out of buying tickets, download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply, but create an account, download the Gametime app, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, folks, we are diving into the predictions, and your boy Tristyn Spann-Ford tied it up. It is tied. It is game time. Literally, we just got talking about game time, but it's time to break the tie. So we're diving into our predictions for this week, and it's going to be for all the marbles. I mean, granted, we still got some more weeks to keep on going back and forth, but this is to take the lead and keep that trash talk and bragging rights going. So I didn't trash talk enough while I had the lead. I got to get it back so we can keep on going.
All the way back now. All the way back.
All right, so we're diving in with the first one of how many touchdowns combined are in this game. So these two teams, how many touchdowns do they score?
Trying to do the math of what my score prediction is. 7.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the math in my head. Yes, six touchdowns. Okay, actually.
Perfect,
6.
Perfect. I'm glad you switched to 6, because I actually scrolled down to look at my projections, and I was like, dang, I actually have 7 touchdowns. I'm not trying to tie him.
No, we're good. We're good. It'll be 6. It'll be 6.
We're good. All right. So I want you to call your shot. If there's an interception for the Gophers in this game, who gets the interception for the Gophers?
Ethan Robinson, I think, this week. I liked him. He had a good game last week. I think I'm feeling it for him.
Look, everything in my mind is telling me to go with Justin Wally, right? Because Justin Wally's a baller. He's back. Yep. He's healthy. He's grinding. He's going. He got a bull crap penalty for brandishing a weapon while he pulled up. Anyway,
that was the craziest thing.
The craziest.
We didn't even talk all-time press conference. Press conference. That was so funny.
All time. But I'm not going to go with Justin Wally. I'm going to go with Coy Parrish, because look, bruh, we in La La Land. We in Hollywood. We in the lights. We with the stars, and you know who's a future star is Coy Parrish. He's ready to go get another one, so I'm doubling down. Coy Parrish with an interception this week. Now, who leads the team in tackles for you?
That is going to be the dog I already picked. Oh, actually, no, give me Cody Lindenberg. That feels like a give me one.
All right, you go Cody Lindenberg. I'm going to go with, that's tough. See, I want to go with Jack Henderson, but his snaps have been ticking down. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to go with your boy, Danny Sturgow. Because Danny Sturgow, he hasn't led in tackles this year, but he did it multiple times last year when you called him out. So I'm calling it out. Danny Sturgow, tackle leader.
Good dog.
All right. How many rush yards does Darius Taylor have in this game?
Now, look, I want him to have a monster, massive, huge game, biggest game he's ever had. But my brain is telling me closer to 120. And I know you're thinking that's 120. That's a lot of yards still. But this is Darius Taylor we're talking about here. So 120 is where I'm going to sit it at, only because I think we're going to throw the ball a lot. And I'd love to see us throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock 88, and I feel guilty doing that. I want to put him above 100 and what have you, but this is a top 25 rush defense right now. Top 25. I'm gonna give them the respect on that because they played LSU, who has some running backs. They've played Penn State, who has some running back. Like they got some dogs over there at Penn State. They have played some tough competition, and they've held it down to be a top 25 against the run. So I think that with the up and downs of this offensive line, I think that the Gophers are going to let Max Brosmer air that thing out this weekend, knowing 124th in the country. Don't mind if we do. So, all right, changing this one. We're not doing offensive player of the game because I feel like you and I just go back and forth between Darius Taylor, Daniel Jackson, and Max Brosmer because all three of those dudes are those dudes.
I have three of those names.
I'm changing it up. Offensive breakout. Who is a player that maybe hasn't shined, who maybe hasn't had a huge game or anything like that, or maybe they've only had one game they've done well in, but who breaks out in this UCLA matchup?
I mean, Elijah Spencer's been the leader in a couple weeks, correct?
Yep, one or two, but I think it's only like 50 yards or 60 yards.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yep.
I like Elijah Spencer in this one. I mean, I think everyone's going to eat, but then give me Elijah Spencer.
All right, so I was going to say Marcus Major, but I talked myself out of that because we just said top 25 rush defense, probably not going to run the ball a lot. Give me Lemeki Brockington. Lemeki hasn't had a lot of love this year. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities this year, but he's had a big play touchdown against Nevada or Rhode Island, one of the two. He had a big catch against USC last week where they dropped it in a bucket to him. I think Lemeki Brockington gets going and we get him maybe like 50 plus and a tutty. So I'm going to go with Lemeki Brockington. Now we're going to keep it defensive player of the game because that's been pretty diverse, pretty spread out. So who is your defensive player of the game? You already told us it's Ja Joyner. I'm not going to put the audience on hold or on pause.
My man.
All right, I'm going to go with Justin Wally for this one. If I'm not going to give him for the interception, maybe he gets an interception too, but I'm going to go with Justin Wally. I just have a feeling he's going to get a big game, and he's going to put himself back into the NFL conversation this weekend like he did last weekend with some key pass breakups. I think he just keeps on trending in the right direction. All right, the moment people have been waiting for, final score predictions. What do you got for this one this weekend, Tristyn?
I have written down, I would like it to be a blowout. I'd really like us to go light it up, but this does feel like a letdown spot. Now, I still think we're going to win. So I'm going to go with 24-21. A lot of scoring, but I think maybe they go up early and they don't score anything in the the last few quarters, so it feels like a blowout. One of those type of games. But I unfortunately think we might end up being in the fourth quarter like what's happening. So it's just because of the spot they're in. It's a tough spot to travel after one of the biggest, probably the biggest win you'll have all season, like upset wise. It's a tough spot, but I think we sneak out a win.
I feel like every reason you said is everything that I would say. Yet I'm on that Tristyn Spann-Ford level. I am going Minnesota 35, UCLA 17. We're beating them by almost 20 points. We're smacking them up. Max Brosmer's going to kill it. We're going to spank UCLA in their home stadium. We're going to be like, we'll be back for the Rose Bowl. See you then. Just kidding. We're probably not going to go that far, but I want to feel that way after this game, and I think they will. Gophers win big.
See, maybe I need the bye week because whatever's happening right now, I think I'm ready for the bye week. Whatever's happening right now doesn't feel right.
All right, well, you got about like 2 minutes to get back on track with your homerism because we're going to talk about some serious questions heading up into this matchup coming up next. First, I want to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel because right now you can start the NFL season, the college season. We're getting about to the halfway point, so I don't know if you can start it anymore, but you can get in there and get a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, like, yo, this is about to happen, or you know what, second half, Max Brosmer, 200 plus yards, you can get in on FanDuel on the same screen where you can check out the latest stats. You can view the live play-by-play and so much more. You can also play place your bets. And when you do that, you make a $5 bet for your first time over on FanDuel, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Doesn't matter if you win, doesn't matter if you lose, you're getting $200 straight to your account. So go take a shot when you place your first $5 bet and you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook of Locked On. All right, Gophers fans, we're not doing underdog numbers today. You know what? It's fun. It's cool and all, but I want to get into the nitty-gritty with this matchup because we talked about how big this matchup is, how much is on the line. So what is your biggest worry in this game, Tristyn? What is the thing that just has you on edge and makes you think 24-21, it could be a tight one?
Third downs. Third downs are stressing me out. What were we last week? Like USC converted like 7 of 11 third downs. And I don't even break into the numbers like that usually, but I was like, how many have they had? And we got to get out of third down. That's what stresses me most out about the defense as a whole, is if we're not unable to get into the fourth and get the ball back, that's a scary, scary thought.
Yeah, most weeks I would say I would be worried about the missed tackles in the run game. But I haven't mentioned it on the show, but UCLA is, you know how we said they're 124th in pass defense?
Yes, that's true.
They're 131st in rushing offense, so they're terrible at running the ball. They're not only the worst in the Big Ten, there's only 3 teams worse than them at running the football. So I think that the Gophers' Achilles heel on defense, this Gophers team is meant to beat up on this UCLA team. So the thing that worries me, the thing that concerns me is the Gophers themselves. The Gophers shooting themselves in the foot, the Gophers getting too lax, the Gophers not coming to play, celebrating last week's win still. That is what worries me the most, because if they do that, they could screw up and lose this game. But if they just play Gophers football, even with their missed tackles, even with the struggles in the run defense, they should smack up on this UCLA team. So I am worried about the Gophers and the Gophers only in this one.
It's a mental game. It's a mental game.
All right, so then I want to know what gives you confidence in this one.
That UCLA is not that great. I mean, I'm looking at it, and even when you look at their schedule, it's difficult, yes, but they're not keeping these games close. So that does give me confidence. But mostly, like last week, we kept the ball in our stars' hands. Like Darius Taylor getting carries, Max throwing the ball, Daniel Jackson getting receptions, like doing all the things that we did last week. If we can carry that over, this will be a cakewalk.
For sure. My thing that gives me confidence is Brosmer is efficient as hell. This dude is a quarterback, plain and simple. Like, he sees the field great. He makes the right calls. He makes the right adjustments. He sees the defense ahead of pre-snap and makes adjustments, and he takes care of the football. Now, we've seen a lot of boneheaded moves in the last few years with Gophers quarterback play. We've seen some upsides. We've seen some cool wow throws, but Max Brosmer takes care of the ball, and that's what gives me confidence in this one, that the Gophers can attack this UCLA team. Now, I've got 2 more questions for you. First, who will be the unsung hero of this game?
Unsung hero. This is a pretty easy one, but give me Dragon. Couple of deep kicks. I think I've said him before as an unsung hero, and he hasn't really had that in a couple of weeks, hasn't had that opportunity to really win it all, put it away. So maybe this is the week. It's at 24-23. We need those last 3 points.
I'm going to go unsung hero with Jameson Gears. I think he's going to have like a key block or a key catch or just something that's at a critical point, and he makes it happen. So I've got Jameson Gears. My final and new question for this week is, which game after the bye week, so beyond UCLA, beyond the bye week, which game do you think is the most important for Minnesota in the back half of the schedule?
I don't have my computer pulled up. Read me the schedule quick.
Yep. So we got Maryland after the bye week. Then we have Illinois on the road. Then you've got Rutgers on the road. Then you come back at home versus Penn State. And then you've got Wisconsin on the road. A lot of road games on this one.
I'm going to say, as far as when we get back from the break, Illinois. Illinois is a tough team. They're a ranked team. They might still be ranked at that time. I mean, that's 3 weeks out, but odds are they're still ranked. And that's going to be another pivotal point. Like, hey, are we going to compete against Illinois? And then being able to play Penn State at home looks a lot better if we beat Illinois than whether we lose to Illinois and go into Penn State a double-digit underdog at home. So I think Illinois is definitely going to be the biggest battle on her, and we just don't beat Illinois.
I like where your head's at. There is a game between Illinois and Penn State, and that's the game I'm picking as most critical. It's Rutgers. We're going on the road. We're playing Kirk Shiraka, who used to be a coach for the Gophers. We're playing Harris Simiak, who used to be a coach for the Gophers. We're playing Ethan Kalik-Manis, who used to be the quarterback for the Gophers. And we're playing Flip Dixon, who used to be the key defensive safety for the Gophers. A lot of former Gophers, a lot of extra tension in that game.
Minnesota Scarlet Knights.
Exactly. But I think overall, you have to win this game, UCLA. You have to win the Maryland game. Even if you drop the Illinois game, which, look, I got to see him beat Bielema before I can just give it to him. But then you got the Rutgers game. And this is a team that PJ Fleck has dominated. He's only played them twice in his career, but he's smacked up on them both times. And now you got your old quarterback who there was whatever drama, whatever tension between all that. Like, I feel like that's one that even if you drop one to Illinois, you come back with a vengeance, you come back with some swagger, and then all of a sudden you have more confidence heading into that Penn State game as well. So I think Rutgers is the most important game for Minnesota in that backstretch.
I like it.
All right. Well, hopefully we are talking next week, maybe with the bye week. Even we'll talk about the predictions for the rest of the season or something. We'll keep you posted. We'll see if that happens or not. We got to check on schedules and whatnot.
We got kids.
Mainly Tristyn with most of the kids, but I still got one over here.
It's too many.
But we're going to dive into all that and more. Hopefully we're talking about a win, but thank you for tapping into Locked On Golden Gophers. Be sure to hit subscribe, and we will see you next time. Roll the boat, Sky, you my Go Gophers, as always, and please don't forget to hit subscribe.